Morning, afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's well. Just a quick run through what we'll do. We'll pick off the live section as always, and then we'll go into a 10:30 for tonight. So if the cameras are ready at the back, everyone ready? We'll kick off with James from Sky.
Hi, Mikel.
Hello.
How's the somewhat lengthy injury list looking after you return from Dubai?
Yeah, we still have a few, unfortunately, in that list that we haven't managed to get back yet. But hopefully they are much closer, and some of them are in a better place than we expected.
Oh, is Zinchenko?
Yeah, individually, I'm not going to tell you exactly how everybody is, but we are still missing a few.
Okay. Anyone due back? I know Gabriel Jesus had that was a knee problem with Liverpool game.
We are touch and go with a few. That's what I would say.
Okay. How was the camp? Bit of warm weather and a chance to work on a few things?
It was great. It was a phenomenal camp in every sense. We worked really hard in things that we wanted to do. We recharged our batteries. Obviously, the context, changing the environment in a beautiful weather helps. The togetherness and the moments that we shared together were great. So, we feel fully recharged.
Did the break come at a good time when you're on a run of form like you've been on? A good chance to hit the reset button and turn a corner? Well,
it was. I think it gave us the opportunity as well to look at things with a bit of perspective as well, to analyze what we've been doing. And we take a lot of positives from the first 6 months of the competition. And even though results haven't gone our way in the last few games, when you look at what we have produced in terms of the Premier League with any other team, we are up there.
And in terms of improvements for the second half of the season, you're creating opportunities, perhaps not taking them. Is that the focus for you a little bit?
Yes, continue to be who we are. You know, defeats cannot make you lose who you are. Because if you do that, then you were never who you said that you were. And we have to continue to be ourselves. But there are certain details, certain marginal gains that we have to improve and evolve. And this is the beautiful thing about my job as well, is constantly find the evolution of a team and what it needs to keep winning.
I mean, you're not finishing in front of goal. To what extent does confidence become an issue?
For sure, that's a big factor. But if you don't produce the number of chances that we have created and expect that we create more than any other team in the league, for sure we're not going to score enough goals. But I love the players that I have and the way they work and the way they go about it, and that will come for sure.
And how important for you is it that Gabriel Jesus maybe scores a few more in the second half of the season?
Yeah, but for everybody. You know, we have to share goals. We are responsible for everything, you know. And on set pieces, the goalkeeper is responsible, the striker is responsible. When there is a throw-in, everybody is responsible to what's going to happen, that throw-in. And we have to share that responsibility like we always done.
After the Liverpool game, you said the chances of bringing in a striker in this transfer window, well, it wasn't a realistic option. Have you changed that opinion, or do you feel the same?
No, but the first thing, because I love the players that we have.
And Crystal Palace, under Roy Hodgson, he never makes it easy for teams to get by. What are you expecting from Palace, and how much respect do you have for Roy Hodgson?
A massive respect, a big admiration for the way he's conducting himself, especially, and the trajectory that he's had. His teams are extremely well organized. They are really hard to beat. He's really good at provoking things that he wants in the game. And tomorrow is going to be a big battle for us, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to Alex on the Premier League.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
You said the break gave you some perspective. What is the message to your players going into this second half?
Keep doing what we are doing, and small margins to improve. That's it.
Roy Hodgson in the opposition dug out 76 years old. Can you see yourself managing at 76?
You always ask me that question. At the moment, I cannot see that happening, but you never know. This job is extremely addictive, and when you do it like I do with people that I love as well and respect so much, you never know. It's difficult to find a better place or a better thing to do in your life.
What do you think the key is to lasting that long as a manager?
The passion for and the love for the game, that's for sure. And then enjoying and the company and the people you work with, and then being very good at dealing with defeats, for sure, because all the matches at the end we lose more than we win, and I think you have to be really good at that.
Is that something you've got better at over the years, dealing with defeat?
I'm not sure. Every defeat it's extremely painful, but but after every defeat, you are closer to winning again, and it makes you a better coach, and it makes you reflect and act and be all the time on the move. And this is what it's about.
Is the early kick-off tomorrow? It can sometimes be difficult to get the crowd going that early. What do you hope for from the home support?
No, we need to get them going, but they've been exceptional with us. And as I said, we are recharged, we are full of energy and super motivated. The team is super motivated, and we want to attack the second half of the season with a lot of ambitions and with the understanding that the team is capable of big things, and they are convinced of that.
Just finally, what was your highlight of the trip to Dubai? Some good food?
The beautiful moments that we have spent together, when you have families, kids around, and mixing life and job. I think it's something extremely necessary, that because we are living their lives, they are living our lives, and if we want this to make sense really, and everybody to be part of it, I think it's a really positive thing to do.
Go to Jordan from The Athletic.
Okay, well, just wondered, after you've had a few defeats and then you've got a week or two's break, which is quite unusual, are you someone who usually studies the footage over and over again to try and find what the answer is? But I heard you say there the message is so clear, just keep doing it. Has this been a slightly different camp for you in terms of looking at what's wrong?
Yeah, you have to look at it objectively, and in order to do that you need to dissect the game in many parts as much as you possibly can to understand what happened, and then is the balance. And in football, what you merit and what you actually have is not always at the same level, and that's been the case. But I think overall in the season where we are, but these things that we can improve and do better, and those marginal gains have to be installed, and they've been installed for the last 10 days, and we have to see them coming up.
A couple of years ago you had a difficult start to the league season, and then I think I remember you said it was the best 10 or 15 days you've had in football. Just wondered if you could reflect on, that first time of turning around the bad few results and what you've maybe done differently now you're a bit older.
It's a lot of times is not what you have to do, it's just looking around and how people behave. And when I said that I love so much my job and what I do, is because I love so much the people that I have next to me, that they are every day with me in my job. And when we are together, and we had a difficult time, it's true that we play in a certain way against big teams and we didn't win, but we know what we produce. Is there a joy to work with, and that gives me every reason to be super positive for the second half of the season.
Just as a manager, as a personality, 4 or 5 years into the job, how do you find the emotional side, that not getting too high or too low? Do you need to hide your emotions from the players when it's been difficult?
I don't know if the word is hide, but I think you have to be honest, and you have to tell them how you feel, and you have to be as clear as possible for them to understand what they expect from you, and as well for them what they are actually doing, and can we improve, and find always the motivation when things they don't go your way, or results they don't go your way. You have a problem within in the team to resolve it, and we are all here and we are all willing to win, and we have to continue to do that.
Okay, last couple in the live section. James from ESPN.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
You spoke before the break about the goal scoring maybe becoming a psychological issue. So when you've been away, how do you tackle that? Do you let them switch off? Do you make them practice harder? How do you actually approach that specific psychological issue?
Changing certain things, analysing first of all from my side, from our side in the coaching point, what we can do better. Is the most difficult thing to coach because it's so unpredictable. Times, distances, spaces, opponent, they change from picture to picture, and they change immediately after the ball is moving. But try to give them clarity, and we'd have to take the responsibility, and we have to give them the tools to deliver the best possible way. And that's what we have to. They have it in them, and they know that, and we have a lot of individual talks about it, and it will come.
The way you talk there, I mean, the sort of outside perception is it's just players missing chances in front of goal, but from what you're saying, it's a lot more complicated.
Yeah, and I don't want to give the responsibility to the players. That's what I'm here, and the responsibility at the end to win and to score 3, 4, or 5 goals is there. And the question we said, okay, how do we score 5 goals every game? And that's a question, right? How are we going to do it? And the rest is just, and we expect it to change it tomorrow. It's not going to happen. So we have to make things happen, and we have to be active and find solutions to that.
And we've spoken to you before about possible points tallies to win the league. The leaders, Liverpool, have got 45 after 20. You've got 40 40 after 20, City 43. I think in the past you've always said 90 points plus. Do you think it might be less than 90 points now?
I don't have a clue.
You do look at it though, don't you? Because we've talked to you about it before. Have you thought that?
Well, when I look what happened in the league, but it's always after it happens. I'm not that good at predicting what's going to happen before.
City won it with 89 last year. If I pushed you, do you think it would be higher or lower?
Depends as well what's going to happen in direct games. That's obviously a big consequence to that number. So let's see.
Okay, Charleston, cool.
Can I just ask about Emile? There's been quite strong reports today about West Ham being interested in talking about a possible loan for Emile. Is that something you can sort of shut down the possibility of that happening this season?
I'm really happy with Emile, and he's in the right trajectory, and now he's settled. He's training really well, and you know that I'm not going to be talking about any individual situation.
Emile's been back from the latest injury for a few weeks now. He's been away in Dubai. Have you seen a change in Emile? Does he look ready now to really sort of make an impact and push towards the first team?
No change. Emile is Emile, and he's got incredible qualities, and we are really happy to have him. And what he needs now is chances to put all the desire and qualities that they have on the pitch. In order to do that, we have to give him minutes.
And just quickly, while you're away, the club released a video that got fans pretty excited seeing you and Timber working out in Dubai. Looking pretty strong, working with the ball on the grass. Obviously, there's still a long way to go for him, but how close is he to potentially playing any sort of part in this season? Is he progressing very well?
There is a possibility, but at the moment it's still very, very far from competing, and that's the realistic picture of it. Are we hopeful that he can have an impact at the end of the season? If everything goes well, it looks like there is a chance that might happen, but I think it's too early to make that call.
Okay, guys, we're going to go to 10:30 tonight. Kick off with Jason from the telephone.
Hi, Mikel. Game, but it's one win in 7. If you look back over the last 3 seasons, there's been a pattern of you often going on fairly long runs of not winning that many games, 2 in 8 a couple of times. Does it worry you at all psychologically that it becomes a little bit of a pattern? Obviously, it's not like win, lose, win, lose. It's like often you get on the runs of losing and drawing games.
Yeah, we want to cut that as quick as possible. Every time you lose, the most important thing is to win, to cut that happen. We haven't managed to do that, and that's a reality, and we have to face it.
But is there any work? I mean, you've identified that yourself. Is there anything you can do to try and help beyond winning games?
We have done a lot of things to try to do that and to produce as much as possible in the games and as little as possible from the opponent, which has happened. But at the end, you have to win the games, and we haven't.
And then one last question for me, it's probably a little bit of an unfair one, but you obviously have 5 points off the lead at the moment. Does it mean that tomorrow is really a must-win game for you if you're going to be title challengers this season?
Well, we better start to pick up points, that's for sure. If we want to be up there, we're going to have to have consistently 3 points on the board, and we know that at this level you cannot have more slip-ups.
Jordan?
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
You said about the results in December not being what you wanted, but performances barring Fulham were really high. When you sit down with your analysis team, you see all the stats and they're all so high, barring maybe finishing. Can you explain how frustrating it is as a manager to see how good your team is in most areas but one?
Yeah, when you look at all the data, Arsenal in the top. The reality is that we haven't won enough matches, so there is something underneath that has to be. It's like an onion, the first layer, 2 layers. We have to go to the bottom of it to understand, okay, actually what is making us win or not win. And it's been small details, small margins, and then obviously the boxes that have played a big part of that. So we have to change that. It's not, as a coach, I do that, and then you have to do it. It's not that. We have to find something else then to win.
When you look at those stats, can you say which ones of those that you're most pleased with in terms of the stats that are really high? Is it in terms of passes in the box or?
I'm more pleased when we win. That's it. Our job is to do that. I'm much better than the opponent. I'm ready to win the game, but at the end we have to win them. So I'm more looking. My focus is in the other things that we can improve and do better, and that are going to help us to have much more margins to win games.
But is it fair to say that Arsenal are one of, if not the best team in the league, apart from finishing those chances?
If you look at it from that perspective, objectively, what we are producing, the answer clearly is yes.
Yes, Sam?
You've obviously got a lot of young players in your squad, the likes of Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli. They've played quite a lot this season. Going forward in the next weeks and months, are you mindful in terms of managing their workload going forward and maybe having to put the likes of Emile in there to get the likes of Saka their rest?
Yeah, well, we want to play the players that are in the best condition and to maintain the players in the best condition, because what's going to have to come when it comes to March, April and May, that is going to be very different. It's now as well that our fixtures look very different without the FA Cup as well, and we're going to have more time to train and more space to game, so we'll have to manage that.
If you absolutely had to sign a player this window, which position would you prioritise and why?
It's a great question that I'm not going to answer.
Thank you. And with in terms of the fullback position,
Yeah.
we've got obviously Tomiyasu in Japan. He's going to come back next month.
Yeah.
Timber, whenever he comes back. With them two, obviously, whatever the timescale is, does that kind of make you mindful that you might not need a fullback in this window for them two coming back?
Well, when we plan the season, obviously, we have those two in mind, being fit, available, and with the impact that we're expecting them to have. And that's the beautiful thing of a piece of paper. Then it's not the reality of what happens. Our player gets injured on the first game, and you have to deal with that. And then we have other issues on top of that. But those two are going to be massive when we come back. It gives us so much strength, flexibility in the defensive line, and we are hopeful that we're going to have them both for the last part of the season.
Gary?
The players maybe are sort of overthinking it, maybe against Liverpool, where they've lost the instinct. Some of the chances, the instinct was just to hit it, and they just delayed and they wanted the extra touch. I think that's when you're on a run like this, they lose the instinct just to take the shot.
That's a question more for the players, but when we have to make an action, especially in the box, it has to be with no hesitation and no thinking, and just deliver the moment. And there were a few situations that we were taking extra touches and moments where we didn't make that decision quick enough. That's for sure.
Is that one of the marginal gains that you've been over the last 2 weeks trying to emphasise? Is it one of the physical ones or mental ones?
Yes.
What were the others? What were the other sort of?
No, there are related. Some of them to Tiger model. The other one about how we compete. The other one about how we face certain situations when things are not going well for us, or when we miss a chance or 2 or 3 or 5 or 25. How we're going to do the next actions, and that's something that we can do better.
It's just one thing Klopp said after that game. He thought that once he had all the chances, he couldn't see. He thought almost that would affect Arsenal by not scoring. So almost then that would affect you and not affect Liverpool, and therefore the second half would be completely different. That's what he said after the game. So that must affect. Is that correct, that the players would get affected?
Well, I don't know. That's his feeling, so I don't know.
Okay, last couple now.
Yeah, Mikel, just on the players and how they're feeling in terms of confidence in front of goal. Have you worked with any sports psychologists with them over the last week or anything like that, or has it just been kind of on the pitch stuff? Was it a mental approach as well? Perhaps?
No, his approach is a very holistic approach, because there is not a single factor, and the factor for a player is not the same factor for a different player. So you always have to take a very holistic approach to things, and try to touch and try to look at every aspect that can be affecting in a positive, negative way a player.
And just more generally, you mentioned about the players spending a bit of time with their families and together. Has that helped the general mood in the camp, and refreshing now coming back to a game?
As I said, it was an exceptional camp. So if I had to plan it again, I don't think it would be as good as it was. That's what I can say.
Okay, finally to Paul.
I was going to ask about that too. Why did you decide that family should be with you? Why did you feel that was so important? And do you think that was almost as important as anything you did on the pitch, or in terms of analysis, having them there and just improving the mood, the atmosphere maybe?
Well, first of all, we've done it for a couple of years now, so it's nothing new. So not because now we haven't won 1 or 2 that now we bring in the families. And the second one, because I don't decide whether the families are part of that or not. They are part of us. They live with us. Maybe they are not in the building every day, but they live with us. They live our professional, our lives, our success and failures every day with us. So they need to be recognized, they need to be present, and for me it's one of the best moments that we had.
Do you think sometimes your strikers get a bit unfairly criticised for the missed chances? It's not just them, is it, in your team, but your team's built to create a lot of chances for a lot of players when you have wingers who like to come in and do more than just create. Right? Do you think it's a shared responsibility that people need to?
I think strikers and goalkeepers, very tough jobs, because they can be heroes one day and the next day they can be highly criticized. It's the job, they know that, but that's the beauty of what they do as well, that the margins are so small and the emotions attached to that as well. But they know there is no one new here that is the first time that they experience something like that.
Okay, Ron.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.